then it becomes kind of a vessel, like it preserves the state of mind and your emotions at that moment.
So they hired a very interesting architectural company to transform a part of the stone quarry into a stage. And I think the result is really cool, actually.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of What's on Vienna,
Your immersive guide in the sometimes overwhelming world of classical music and arts events in the city.
The season has just finished, and it's a bit more quiet now here. It's a time for summer festivals all over Europe, but there are still some cultural events you can enjoy in Vienna and around. And today we are going to talk about the whole month of July.
My first choice of recommendation is a opera festival in Klosterneuburg. Klosterneuburg is just a couple of kilometers away from Vienna, Heiligenstadt, so it is very, very easily accessible. I've heard about this festival for many years, you too probably, right? And never had a chance to go until last year, where I happened to get an invitation to go, and I enjoyed it much more than I expected. It is located in the beautiful Abbey of Klosterneuburg, in the Innen Court called Imperial Court, so inside the building, which provides beautiful acoustics. There are actually a lot of summer festivals that follow this architectural model, because you're surrounded by four walls and it gives you beautiful, surround system, but obviously it's open air still. And the stage is beautiful, actually. The whole is built as an amphitheater, so you get very good view from all spots, more or less the same. Very nice. And the singing was good, orchestra was fine, the decorations were really lovely. And this year I see that they are doing Tosca. Now, interesting thing about this festival is that they follow a slightly unusual model, which is that they do one title production for the whole festival. And they choose just one opera that they do over and over. There is a possibility to attend a lecture presentation before the show. So in case you are curious about some details or fun facts, you can listen to it. I believe it's 30 minutes long. Also, there is a possibility to have a lovely drink. And just in general, the area is really beautiful, so it makes for a really special summer night. The only thing I would consider, because it surprised me personally a little bit, is how late it goes. So it finishes past midnight, basically. So you're looking at being at home quite late. So make sure you don't have to get up early next morning. But I think I'll be going this year and definitely recommend that.
I remember that last time you went, you were telling the story about the pillows. Tell us about the pillows situation.
So, one thing I didn't realize is that you can actually flex your cushions or pillows you sit on your outdoor summer festivals. So in case you consider that the chairs are uncomfortable, which they aren't. They're very comfortable. You can purchase pillows from various summer festivals that sell those pillows, and then you can travel with them all over Europe or world if you want, and show off the festivals you've attended by means of cushions. And I had no idea that that's a thing, but apparently people are competing with each other with the brands of their cushions. I showed up without one, obviously. It's completely fine, and sat very comfortably, so it's really unnecessary unless you are of a certain age, which of course a lot of the audience are, so maybe that makes a difference. I don't know. Yeah.
Would you say that there were a majority of cushions were from particular festival, or?
No. I didn't have opportunity to look into that closely. I could just see some around me.
Oh, it's a pity we don't have the statistic.
No, sorry.
Okay, but it's a cool detail.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
See, it's always something new you can worry about.
That's true. That's always true. So they're a bit less classical music events right now. So we will be turning our attention more toward other form of arts. And one of the biggest events of this summer and for previous summers, because this festival goes already for 42 years. It's a very big dance festival, ImPulsTanz Dance International Festival. It's more like a vibrant, huge institution. A lot of things are happening, more than 50 productions shown all over the city. Literally hundreds of workshops and research projects, and many of those you can actually observe, see the process. They're open to the audience. Many of those you can attend even if you have no dancing experience.
No, I wouldn't do that myself. No.
Why not?
No.
Why not? There are many different styles that you can try out, and also outdoor, not just in Vienna, by the way. Also, there is a diverse program for kids. So it's really huge. It's quite incredible how big this festival is. And one of the highlights of this year is the performance of the iconic and very influential work Café Müller by Pina Bausch, and I'm sure all of you had your own experience and with the work of this choreographer and dancer, with the recordings of her works and films. I know you have beautiful
I think
memory.
that this actually, it's Wim Wenders' film, right? The Pina. It's one of his more successful works. As much as people like him and respect him, turns out I'm not a huge fan, but that movie is really excellent, I thought.
Yeah. And another highlight is a brand new work by Ahram Khan Company. And another work that we are very excited to see is Brel by Teresa De Keersmaeker. Of course, it's dedicated to music of Jacques Brel. Surprise. Yeah, she's an amazing choreographer and dancer and musician and activist. Overall, she's an incredible personality, very interesting. Her work is very often based on music, where music takes central part, plays a central role, and she's always searching and looking for new ways, new perspectives on this process of how music influenced the movement, the relation of it, the structure, the timing. Very, very interesting. She has a lot of works based on Bach, Bartók music, Steve Reich, and others.
And Brel.
And this is another one.
Speaking of timing, actually, this is good that you brought this up. I'm very curious, indeed, how it will fit with with the rhythm of his music.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not like Bach or like Bartók even. Yeah. So it's very curious.
Also, of course, the very important part of his music are, as we saw, the recordings of his performances, so his stage presence, his persona and his personality. So I'm also very curious how that will be transformed. It's not just audio experience, it's very exciting. I remember very vividly the period of time, the circumstances when I discovered his music, his songs, when in my teenage years. And I always find it fascinating that music has this quality that when one reacts to it in a particular way, then it becomes kind of a vessel, like it preserves the state of mind and your emotions at that moment, and after many years you can return to that kind of through the music, but also observe it from the distance, and music of Jacques Brel, for me it was very, like for many of you and for many people, it's very sentimental. It's quite essential. It was very influential for me, so I'm very excited to see it, and some other stuff also from the festival. So please check it out.
I am on the theme today, another outdoors opera festival close to Vienna. Is this time in Burgenland, in St. Margarethen, in the old stone quarry, so Steinbruch. My research, I hope it's correct, shows that the stones from this stone quarry were used in building of iconic landmarks in Austria, and particularly in Vienna, including Stephansdom, Karlskirche, and others.
I had no idea about that.
I hope it's correct. I mean, they say that this is true. Maybe they used very small. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But it is a very interesting. How should I say, business model, because this stone quarry has been owned by the Esterházy, the royal, right? You can say the first, so the prince family, the Hungarians originally, now I guess Austrian, who have been in charge, who have owned this business for centuries now. Now they're still owners, but they don't operate. So what I understood is they not that anyone cares about the business model, but maybe you do. They lease it out to certain companies that get to work on the stone, but they have the ownership. And then at some point, the Esterházy family, not at some point, in general, have prided themselves in being arts patrons. Of course, very famously, the Haydn, Joseph Haydn's name is associated with the Esterházy family, him being the court musician for them. And so they decided to continue the tradition. And so in all of the landmarks that the family, or estate, you say, I guess family, still owns, they are doing a lot of music festivals. And this is one of them. So they hired a very interesting architectural company to transform a part of the stone quarry into a stage. And I think the result is really cool, actually, to tell the truth. There are other examples of outdoors summer festivals all over Europe that have this like stony rocky formations that serve
and it always works beautifully.
It always works
in my days.
Famously the huge piano festival in France, La Roque d'Anteron, which is exactly the rock of Anteron, served on the stage, and it's really very well done in St. Margarethen. And so this gives them opportunity to stage massive opera productions. Last year they did Aida, and it looked really good. I didn't have a chance to go. I have friends who went, they all loved it. And this year they're doing another very big production, which is Richard Wagner's Flying Dutchman. Some might think it's an opera that's a little bit on the riskier side because they're trying to make it a production that's very accessible to everyone. But Flying Dutchman is actually one of the lighter of Wagner's operas, and it is basically a fairy tale, right? It's a lot of fun. And what I saw on the website as a preview, because you can see the pictures from the production, it looks really nice. So they have this like huge waves carved out of I don't know what, but like kind of juxtaposed with this stone. It looks like it will look amazing. Now about Flying Dutchman, it has an interesting story. Wagner's opera as well as the legend itself. Flying Dutchman is of course the Dutch ship. The legend has, as legends do, thousands of variants, but it is this cursed coast ship with a cursed coast crew. Now afterwards the details vary. Wagner was inspired by the story of Heinrich Heine, his satirical novel called The Memoir of Dr. Schnabelewopski, where this main character recalls and retells the legend of the Flying Dutchman in his version. The crew and the captain can be redeemed through eternal, true, pure love. This was meant as satire, the whole work, but Wagner looks like he took it literally. Why not? And love is kind of the central theme of the work. But the backstory is even more fascinating. Wagner himself at the time was working in Riga, now Latvia. And he was living there with his young wife, and they managed to amass an incredible amount of debt. Extreme. This I didn't know. And to the extent that he was going to, she probably not going to go to prison. And the creditors were really after him. And they decided to just run away and flee. And the government was somehow aware of that, and they confiscated their passports. But that didn't stop the Wagner couple, and they crossed illegally into Prussia, which was actually very dangerous, and they could have been shot by the border police, but survived, obviously. And then they managed to go to the shore, and they found a captain who agreed to illegally transport them without documents to London. And this trip was supposed to take 8 days, but it took 3 weeks. It was a complete disaster. They had horrible adventures on the way. They ended up somehow in Norway. I don't know. So it was so bad that he decided somehow to write a piece about ocean and like travels. And then this was the story that spoke to him.
That's crazy. But tell me, what did all these adventures
Yeah.
after she ran away from him?
Yes. So
Okay.
they lived together with this first wife of his for 6 months, and then he was incredibly jealous and controlling, and she left him. And then he moved to Riga, but then she somehow got convinced to join him again, and she
Interesting.
came to him, and then they
Okay.
bankrupted themselves and ran away. Lovely family dynamic.
Beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, but this opera will be done over and over again. It starts on the 9th of July now and will go all the way to 23rd of August. And if you don't know how to get to St. Margarethen, there is an option to purchase the tickets for the show together with the bus ride, and the bus leaves actually from Opera, and it's very convenient. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. And of course, don't forget about the film festival at the Rathausplatz. Of course, it's very far from any live experience of music, but still, it might be a fun activity to go with friends or with a family. There are a lot of restaurants around. They have quite interesting program. They have productions from State Opera House, Metropolitan Opera, different symphonic concerts on the big screen with nice sound, and of course also concert by Billie Eilish, Celine Dion, Queen. So I think quite a diverse taste palette is covered there, so check it out. And regarding art exhibitions, after our experience in one of the previous episodes, you might remember we decided not to announce an exhibition before we actually attend it and check it out. So for now we did see quite a few, but unfortunately, very unfortunately, we don't have anything to recommend right now, nothing very exciting. So, but we will keep trying to find, and please recommend if you had nice experiences, interesting, fulfilling. So let us know. Of course, subscribe, like. If you listen on the Spotify or Apple Podcast, follow. And
Let us know if you attend any of the events. We absolutely love to hear from you.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
See you in the next episode.
Yeah, see
Bye.
you. Bye.